there is no further growth in the number of international students in Canada for 2024, work permits will no longer be available to public-private institution models. International students are a valuable asset to this country. They are bright, young individuals that enrich our communities and bring significant social, cultural, and economic benefits. They deserve the best. They deserve world-class academic experiences that they sought out and hoped for. And Canada is renowned for that. Sadly, this has not always been the case. Pour que ces avantages perdurent et que le Canada conserve sa réputation mondiale, nous devons nous attaquer aux problèmes récents qui ont rendu certains étudiants vulnérables et ont porté atteinte à l'intégrité de notre programme pour les étudiants internationaux. It's unacceptable that some private institutions have taken advantage of international students by operating under-resourced campuses, lacking supports for students, and charging high tuition fees, all the while significantly increasing their intake of international students. Cette augmentation rapide exerce également une pression sur le logement, les soins de santé et d'autres services. Si la réglementation des établissements d'enseignement relève des provinces et des territoires, certains d'entre eux ont laissé perdurer ce phénomène inacceptable pendant trop longtemps. Today, I am announcing 3 principal measures. 1, a temporary 2-year cap on new international student permits. It is the latest in a series of measures to improve program integrity and set international students up for the success in order to maintain a sustainable level of temporary residence in Canada as well. To ensure that there is no further growth in the number of international students in Canada for 2024, we are setting a national application intake cap for a period of 2 years. For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 364,000 approved study permits, a decrease of 35% from 2023. In the spirit of fairness, we are also allocating the cap space by province based on population, such as that some provinces will see much more significant reductions. We'll continue to work closely with those provinces and territories to put these measures into place, as they will be responsible for determining how the cap is distributed between its designated learning institutions that they have jurisdiction over. I've had productive conversations, in particular with British Columbia and Ontario already, and we all recognize that more needs to be done to protect the integrity of our system while supporting international students. In addition, effective immediately, applicants must provide a provincial attestation with their study permit application. At the same time, the cap will not apply to students at graduate levels of studies, including master's and doctoral students. Those are the people we're looking for. Study permit applications at the elementary and secondary school levels will also be exempt. Deuxièmement, afin de mieux aligner le programme de permis de travail post-diplôme avec l'intégrité du système, nous modifions également les critères d'éligibilité. À partir du 1er septembre 2024, les étudiants internationaux qui commencent un programme d'études faisant partie d'un accord de licence de programme d'études ne seront plus admissibles à un permis de travail post-diplôme après l'obtention de leur diplôme. Dans le cadre de ces accords, les étudiants fréquentent un établissement privé qui a été autorisé à dispenser le programme d'études d'un établissement public associé. Ces programmes ont connu une croissance significative en attirant des étudiants internationaux ces dernières années, bien qu'ils soient moins surveillés que les collèges publics et qui constituent une échappatoire en ce qui concerne l'éligibilité au permis de travail après l'obtention du diplôme. To repeat, as of September 1st of this year, postgraduate work permits will no longer be available to public-private institution models. Thirdly, in the coming weeks, we'll be announcing that open work permits will only be allowed and be available to spouses of international students enrolled in master's and doctoral programs, as well as professional programs such as medicine and law. Spouses of international students enrolled in other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. To be clear, the cap will not apply to applicants within Canada looking to extend their studies, as it wouldn't be fair to prevent someone from finishing the program, nor will the cap have an effect on study permit holders currently in Canada. These temporary measures will be in place for 2 years. and the number of new study permit applications that will be accepted in 2025 will be reassessed at the end of this year. Nous continuons en outre à travailler avec les provinces et les territoires, les établissements d'enseignement désignés et les acteurs de l'éducation nationale des réformes plus larges sur l'élaboration d'une voie plus durable pour les étudiants internationaux, y compris la finalisation du cadre des établissements reconnus que j'avais annoncé plus tard l'année dernière. La détermination d'un niveau durable à long terme d'étudiants internationaux et la garantie que les établissements d'enseignement postsecondaire sont en mesure de fournir les niveaux adéquats de logement pour les étudiants. S'appuyant sur d'autres réformes du programme des étudiants étrangers, l'annonce d'aujourd'hui vise à protéger un système qui a ouvert la voie à des abus, ainsi qu'à soutenir une croissance démographique durable au Canada. To be absolutely clear, these measures are not against individual international students. They are to ensure that as future students arrive in Canada, they receive the quality of education that they signed up for and the hope that they were provided in their home countries. It would be a disservice to welcome international students in Canada, knowing not all of them are getting the resources they need to succeed in Canada, and having them return home disillusioned and disappointed in Canada's education system. Allowing bad actors to continue their operations would be a disservice to all the good institutions who pride themselves in providing a top-tier academic experience. Thank you.
Canada to stabilize growth and decrease number of new international student permits issued to approximately 360,000 for 2024. International students enrich our communities and are a critical part of Canada's social, cultural and economic fabric. In recent years, the integrity of the international student system has been threatened. Some institutions have significantly increased their intakes to drive revenues, and more students have been arriving in Canada without the proper supports they need to succeed. Rapid increases in the number of international students arriving in Canada also puts pressure on housing, healthcare and other services. As we work to better protect international students from bad actors and support sustainable population growth in Canada, the government is moving forward with measures to stabilize the number of international students in Canada. The Honourable Marc Miller, Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship announced today that the Government of Canada will set an intake cap on international student permit applications to stabilize new growth for a period of 2 years. For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 360,000 approved study permits, a decrease of 35% from 2023. In the spirit of fairness, individual provincial and territorial caps have been established, weighted by population, which will result in much more significant decreases in provinces where the international student population has seen the most unsustainable growth. Study permit renewals will not be impacted. Those pursuing master's and doctoral degrees, and elementary and secondary education are not included in the cap. Current study permit holders will not be affected. IRCC will allocate a portion of the cap to each province and territory, who will then distribute the allocation among their designated learning institutions. To implement the cap, as of January 22, 2024, every study permit application submitted to IRCC will also require an attestation letter from a province or territory. Provinces and territories are expected to establish a process for issuing attestation letters to students by no later than March 31, 2024. These temporary measures will be in place for 2 years, and the number of new study permit applications that will be accepted in 2025 will be reassessed at the end of this year. During this period, the Government of Canada will continue to work with provinces and territories, designated learning institutions and national education stakeholders on developing a sustainable path forward for international students, including finalizing a recognized institution framework, determining long-term sustainable levels of international students and ensuring post-secondary institutions are able to provide adequate levels of student housing. In order to better align the post-graduation work permit program, we are changing the eligibility criteria. Starting September 1, 2024, international students who begin a study program that is part of a curriculum licensing arrangement will no longer be eligible for a post-graduation work permit upon graduation. Under curriculum licensing agreements, students physically attend a private college that has been licensed to deliver the curriculum of an associated public college. These programs have seen significant growth in attracting international students in recent years, though they have less oversight than public colleges and they act as a loophole with regards to post-graduation work permit eligibility. Graduates of master's and other short graduate level programs will soon be eligible to apply for a 3-year work permit. Under current criteria, the length of a post-graduation work permit is based solely on the length of an individual's study program, hindering master's graduates by limiting the amount of time they have to gain work experience and potentially transition to permanent residence. In the weeks ahead, Open work permits will only be available to spouses of international students in master's and doctoral programs. The spouses of international students in other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. The important measures announced today complement other recently announced reforms to the international student program. Taken together, they aim to ensure genuine students receive the support they require and have the resources they need for an enriching study experience in Canada, while at the same time stabilizing the overall number of students arriving and alleviating pressures on housing, healthcare and other services in Canada. International students are vital to Canada and enrich our communities. As such, we have an obligation to ensure that they have access to the resources they need for an enriching academic experience. In Canada, today, this isn't always the case. Today, we are announcing additional measures to protect a system that has become so lucrative that it has opened a path for its abuse. Enough is enough. Through the decisive measures announced today, we are striking the right balance for Canada and ensuring the integrity of our immigration system while setting students up for the success they hope for. The Honourable Marc Miller, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. In the coming months, we will continue to work to provide clear pathways to permanent residence for students with in-demand skills and explore new measures to better transition international students to the labor force. The department has introduced several measures recently to make sure the international student program works for incoming students, as well as the country as a whole, including: on January 1, 2024, the cost of living requirement for study permit applicants was updated to better reflect the true cost of living in Canada and help prevent student vulnerability and exploitation. Since December 1, 2023, post-secondary designated learning institutions have been required to confirm every letter of acceptance submitted by an applicant outside Canada directly with IRCC. This enhanced verification process protects prospective students from fraud and ensures that study permits are issued based only on genuine letters of acceptance. In 2024, we intend to implement targeted pilots aimed at helping underrepresented cohorts of international students pursue their studies in Canada. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next episode. Till then, take care.